Welcome to Biologica. I'm Dr. Susan, a veterinarian and a marine educator from Maine. On this show, we'll be exploring the many ways that animals and humans interact and that society and nature intersect. Please visit my Patreon or my Podbean page to support the show or to suggest future episodes. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the episode today. Thanks for listening. Today we'll be talking about the dogs of Cotacachi, Ecuador. I'm actually recording right now from Cotacachi, Ecuador, near the main square, and a 150-year-old adobe house. So I hope you bear with the echoes. I've got high ceilings with wooden beams, a rainstorm outside, and a busy town street right outside the window of this historic home. It's pretty cool here, but it's not the best audio setting. We're going to be talking about the dogs of Cotacachi because they're really interesting and they've got an interesting story to tell. About 2 decades ago, there were hundreds, if not 1,000 or more dogs here in Cotacachi living on the streets and in the surrounding hills around the town. And today there are about 100 or so dogs living here on the streets. The way that this came about is pretty cool. 2 veterinarians from the United States came to Ecuador and fell in love with it. They currently run a sheep farm outside of Cotacachi. But they founded a hospital called Amici Canis, or Friend of the Dogs. And this hospital is a nonprofit, and it's set out with a mission to take care of the street dogs and to work with the local community to do so. In order to do this, they got permission from the local government and the powers that be to take on this mission. And they were working on not only spaying and neutering the local street dogs, along with their wonderful staff of technicians and local Ecuadorian veterinarians, but they have files and information on each dog, what its nickname is or what its name is, what street it lives on or what shop it hangs out at, and what its vaccine schedule is, when it's due for dewormers, when it's due for flea and tick medications, and so on. The vet clinic to this day, it started about 13 or so years ago. To this day, it makes regular rounds to visit these dogs and give them their regular checkup, just like you might take your dog or your neighbor might take their dog to the local veterinarian near where you live. The main difference being that these dogs don't have an owner. They may have townspeople that know them or a shopkeeper nearby that knows who they are and tolerates them hanging out there, but they don't have a traditional owner that would bring them home or take them to the veterinarian. 2 quick notes. First of all, the population of street dogs in Cotacachi is a little bit over 200. Second of all, many traditional shelters, including the one I work at in Maine, do an incredible job preventing and addressing the problem of homeless pets. The approach that Amici Canis is taking in Cotacachi with the street dogs is uniquely suited to the community there, the pet population there, and the climate there. This week, we're going to be taking care of a street dog that has a skin problem, and it's going to be coming in for its checkup at the clinic. So maybe we'll get to include that in the episode. At minimum, we'll get to maybe go out on the street and meet some dogs, pet them, kind of interact with them a little bit. And then we'll meet some of the vet students that have come from the United States in order to help out here and learn and grow as vets and also get to volunteer their time here. If we can, we'll also interview a staff member at the hospital of Amici Canis. I will be here for the full week helping out at the hospital and also helping to train or mentor or advise the students that are training here. And also, I'll be learning about the local communities and getting to help out and volunteer there myself. So, looking forward to this episode about the dogs of Cotacachi. And again, thank you for bearing with this echoey sound in this 150-year-old, very cool home in Cotacachi, Ecuador. Gracias por todo. I'm here with Dr. Carla from Amici Canis, and she's agreed to answer a few questions. And first, I was wondering when you came to Amici Canis, how long you've been here, and how you started.
Okay, I'm here about 2.5 years, almost 3 years, and almost 3 years, and I was working here for that time.
Okay. And what is one thing you enjoy or a positive aspect of working at Amici Canis?
Well, first of all, I didn't know about the project and about the everything that the Michiganis does.
Mm-hmm.
So passing the time, I realized that this is a really big family to help us to help another people. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So it's in that case we have the opportunity to help with our knowledge. To help with our knowledge to other people that doesn't have too much money. So keep their animals safe.
Excellent. And your English is muy bueno. Sí, sí. And last question, when did you decide to become a vet? How did you know that you wanted to be a veterinarian?
Well, it's interesting because when I was around 4 or 5 years old, I said to my parents, well, and everybody, I want to become a vet. And they said, yeah, it's just a kid, and and then I'm starting to growing up, and I decide, veterinary is my first option and also my 100 option. So if someone asks me again, if you have to decide to another career or something, I would say no. I will become a vet again.
It was meant to be.
Yeah. It was in my genetics.
Yes. Thank you for all the wonderful work you do here. Muchas gracias. And thank you for answering questions.
Thank you so much to you to taking me like an option to to this interview. And
Wonderful. Excellent. Thank you. It's Tuesday morning. We're meeting just outside the Amici Canis Clinic, where the bright green van is parked by the side of the road. It's been raining for several days. Actually, we've heard for several weeks. And we've heard that the roads may be somewhat treacherous. They're always a bit bumpy, but there's been some landslides and rock falls. We're getting ready to load up some of the empty kennels and hit the road.
Yeah, there are buses that come out to these communities, which is crazy. Yeah, I know, isn't it crazy? And yesterday it was raining a little bit, so there were like rivets of rain.
Yeah.
I know, it rained a lot onto this street. Maintenance worker in here is
It's gotta be hard when it's raining so much.
After arriving at the local town up in the foothills below the volcano, we met with several local townspeople, including an elderly Quechua couple, an indigenous couple that lived in the area. The area has a large population of indigenous Quechua people. The old man sat side by side with his dog, where he held his hand in hand, or hand in paw, with her as he got ready to send her off to the clinic. With several dogs in tow, we headed back to the clinic, and after a morning of surgery with the students, which went pretty smoothly, it was our second day, we then had time to jump in and help out and check out the street dog, Chimbo. I had mentioned that we might get to meet Chimbo, the street dog that had the skin problem, and in the next few moments, we'll hear a little bit of his bath time.
Chimbo. Like Jimbo.
Chimbo.
Yeah.
Ah, bueno.
Yeah,
Es un
Chimbo.
shampoo medical.
Yes,
Yes, sí. Gracias.
Isn't he a cool little
Yes,
guy?
I know. He's so cute.
So he's a repeat patient. He first came here to get neutered and all that loveliness, and also had skin conditions. So we have a volunteer here that feeds him and doesn't own him, but keeps an eye. And he disappeared for a couple weeks. She was super nervous, and then he showed up. It was really, really bad. I mean, it was like flaming red, real thin. So she brought him back, and then she's paying for his treatment.
That's so good.
Which is really, really sweet of her. Yeah. Okay. He's so friendly.
Is the skin improving?
It is. So,
Ayuda.
primero como es el piel era como rojo. Y ahora sí parece mucho mejor.
Sí.
Sí, mucho mejor.
As you could hear in that story, Jimbo is feeling much, much better, and his skin is improving with his regular daily medicated bath time at the Amuticanas Hospital. I did learn from some technicians and some of the veterinarians at Amuticanas that when a street dog has a medical problem that needs more constant or long-term medications, daily medications given, maybe for the rest of its life, the clinic and the community will work together to find somebody who might be willing to adopt the dog and continue with its medical treatments. But when there's a shorter-term problem that can be handled and then fixed or managed and improved, then the dog can return to the street to its life there where it's already been living. Now we're going to hear from two veterinary students who are also here this week and next week from Tufts Veterinary School. I'm here in the cat exam room and storage room at Amuticanas with Courtney and Mark, two vet students from Tufts Veterinary School. They're in their 4th year and close to graduation. Thank you guys for being interviewed today. So Courtney and Mark are here for 2 weeks, and the first week of that, I'm here with them, and I had just a couple questions for them. What were your main goals in coming to Amuticanas?
So I guess for myself, I had a few goals coming in. First, I love to travel and see new cultures and countries and landscapes. So the appeal of experiencing veterinary medicine while also seeing a new country and culture that I'd never been to was a really strong one for me,
Cool.
as well as learning how to do more spay procedures and hands-on, which is difficult to get as a student, those experiences.
Mhm.
And then I also really like community hospitals and the structure of them. Like in the States, I like that as well. So kind of also just seeing how this community hospital functions in Cotacachi.
Awesome. Thank you. Mark, what about you?
Yeah. So I haven't traveled too extensively in my life and, not to really south of the equator. So I think this was a good opportunity to go and experience a new culture, like Courtney said.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just wanted to also get some more surgery experience as well. I'm interested in pursuing surgery for a career. So I wanted to get some more experience, doing hands-on work down here while also helping the community in a unique way that I feel like I can't necessarily always do at home. So it's been a really cool way to go and experience the culture and, travel with a purpose here.
Awesome. Very cool. It's a really, really neat program. So jumping topics just a little bit, what have you guys noticed about the street dogs? Any observations you've made while being here?
Yeah, I think that they're a great community. Back in the States, at least the Northeast area where we're both living currently, there's none. Yeah. So coming and seeing them, period, was very interesting. But I was impressed by their level of socialization. They're very attuned to people and very friendly and clearly very well cared for as well, and an integral part of the community. So I think that was something that stood out to me. Yeah.
Awesome.
I just watched a pack of 4 golden retrievers chase a husky around just outside the clinic here. So it seems like they have, it's cool to see all their social dynamics working, both as dogs and, their relationship with people here, as well as relationships amongst each other that we just don't see back home,
Right.
And it seems like the lives that they live are pretty good lives for dogs. Like
Yeah.
like Courtney said, they're well cared for. They get enough food. They get to be outside, and some of them get to go inside too. But I would feel bad if I think some people come to these communities and like, oh, I want to take a pet home, or I want to take rescue one of these dogs. But it's not like that. Like the life they have here is pretty good. It's good dogs.
I agree. And I feel like that's kind of exceptional here. There may be other communities like this, but Amici Canis has, I think, been a big difference in making a good quality of life for a dog that's also a street dog here, which is pretty cool. And last question, what are you looking forward to after graduating and being a newly minted veterinarian?
Oh my gosh. Well, that's stressful.
That's a big question.
We're both doing rotating internships. So I'm going to maybe jump to a year after that because I think my work-life balance will be a little bit improved. I personally hope to go into a mixture of general practice and emergency. I like doing a little bit of everything. And that's something that has stood out to me here is the veterinarians and the technicians as well are extraordinarily equipped to handle most things that come in through the door. Which I think is something that's starting to differ a lot in the States where there's a lot of specialties and then general practice can be so general sometimes, very wellness focused. So it's nice to see that here because that's something that I hope to be as a vet is like being skilled in a little bit of everything. And so I guess in the future, I hope to be more involved in programs like this and come back and volunteer as a vet, get back to kind of the experiences that helped me get to where I am.
Awesome. I can definitely recommend coming as a volunteer veterinarian. It's been really cool. Yeah. What about you, Mark?
I'm excited to get paid. It's just a little bit, like rotating internship doesn't pay like the big bucks, but I feel like, we're done with the academic portion of school and we finally have some responsibility. I think that's going to be an adjustment for sure. Because right now, at this point in clinics, we've done our core rotations. And now we're just kind of in this limbo where we're doing elective things like coming here and, working our way up to being independent veterinarians. So I'm excited to get to that point, but I don't want to rush it. I'm really taking in all the experiences where I'm like learning from people like you and, the other vets here. I think it's really helpful, but I am looking forward to just kind of like coming into my own a little bit and handling the responsibility of having the animals under my care for sure. So looking forward to just feeling like an adult. More than anything else, I still feel like a little boy.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. And thank you for coming down here and being a part of the program and also agreeing to do the interview with me. Yeah. It was really fun.
Thank you so much.
Okay. It's hard to truly capture the diverse and often striking appearances of the dogs of Cotacachi and their many personalities. From Leo, the distinguished older brown lab who likes to hang out with the locals and the expats on the porch of the Red Rabbit coffee house, people watching in the square there with his front legs demurely crossed and a very serene and regal gaze, to the mystery dog that I saw step from the shadows of an alleyway I was passing. Its glossy red fur looked like a fox, but its Arctic fire, ice blue eyes looked like those of a wolf and captured the light and shone it back in a way that was so striking. In just a moment, I'll play a clip of interacting with several of the dogs on the main street who were quite cleverly hanging out just outside the town bakery. Please pardon all of the background noise and clattering of vehicles because it's a busy evening here in Cotacachi. I'm here with 3 beautiful dogs that are hoping for some bread. One of them seems to sense there's sugar on my pocket. Okay, buddy. It's a brindle hound with long hair. And actually some locals just threw them some pieces of bread, so apparently I'm not totally out of line culturally to do this. Hey, Chico. The brindle long-haired one is coming back. Can you get it gently? Good job. Can you get it gently? Good job. Okay, I'm going to walk them down the road and see if they leave. They're very cute. Just a quick note that the awesome music with the flute that was just playing there was not actually added in as background music, but was, in fact, the music that was being played live on the street near where I was meeting those dogs. What's pretty cool about these dogs is also how they are so socially complex. It's really mind-boggling to watch it, but the way that this works and why the veterinary clinic Amici Canis, or Friend of the Dogs, knows where each one lives is that it's very sort of structured and regimented what street, square, or shop doorway each dog is known to hang out in. And the dogs, some of them have a partner or buddy dog. Some of them are solo, but they really seem to respect where each other live and respect those boundaries and structure to their dog society in this area. If one dog is crossing through the area of another dog or pair of dogs, and I've witnessed this, if it needs to cross to somewhere else, it will look carefully at those dogs, cross the street, and then jog down the street, then cross back and continue on its way. So they're very careful about respecting their own dog's societal boundaries and norms. This is interesting as a veterinarian from the United States, where some dogs can go to the dog park and know how to interact with other dogs. But a lot of dogs grow up in one home and just don't even know the right way to interact with other dogs, how to read social cues, anything like that. So they might fight with another dog or freeze or get scared and run away in a way that's not very sociable or respectful from another dog's perspective. So it's pretty interesting in this town to see the social complexity of the community of dogs here. I'm now going to summarize a couple final points about Amici Canis, my experience in Cotacachi, and the dogs of Cotacachi. First of all, for the cat lovers out there, never fear. There are cats that are alive and well in Cotacachi, and I learned on this visit that they like to explore and hang out on the rooftops of the village, which is not that surprising since they're smart and they don't want anything to do with the dogs of the streets down below. In 2024, Amici Canis provided veterinary care to 236 street dogs and cats. Every year with their volunteers, they conduct a survey of the street dogs, and this year they have a little bit over 200, including several puppies, but the number of puppies is declining each year. In addition to the types of things we talked about on this episode, Amici Canis does several different missions. First of all, the veterinary care for the community dogs and cats, including spay and neuter, preventative care, medical care, and even supplying food and water, was one of their initial missions and is still a very important one today. But they also have something called an Indigenous Family Fund that helps them supply veterinary care to underserved populations and their pets, the Quechua people that live in and around the hills surrounding Cotacachi. They're also building a new hospital and did a groundbreaking ceremony just a few days ago. This is going to enable them to really help out veterinary students from veterinary schools from the U.S. and Ecuador and beyond, just like the veterinary students that you met and heard interviewed on this episode. They have a mission to help educate the local school children. This part of their mission is called Sé Amable, which means be kind. They talk with the school children in the schools and through puppet shows at community events about the rights and needs of animals like food, water, basic shelter, and things like that. And they also teach children how to be safe around dogs that they don't know. If you would like to support this organization, which is really, truly a grassroots organization where the support you give goes directly to the people and the animals in need in Cotacachi, please visit amicicanisusa.org. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the dogs of Cotacachi today on Biologica. As I think back on my experience in Cotacachi and on what we talked about in this episode, I picture the Quechua man smiling and hugging his dog as it came home after a day of surgery and vaccinations. And I also picture Chimbo returning to the streets of Cotacachi, feeling much more comfortable in his own skin. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Biologica, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode, where we will be investigating Big Night in Maine. Thanks for listening.